Australia could be split into different personal tax zones under a radical plan from opposition leader Tony Abbott. The strategy leaked to News Limited would shift thousands of jobs to northern Australia to create a new economic powerhouse. Let's go live to Canberra now and Sky News chief political reporter Kieran Gilbert. Good morning, Kieran.
Selena, good morning. A spokesman for Tony Abbott this morning has told me that this, at the moment, is just a discussion paper, that it's not coalition policy, and that subsequently they'll have an options paper and then coalition policy. So they're playing this down this morning that it reflects coalition policy. But the front page of the Daily Telegraph says Tony goes troppo, and it has got the leaked discussion paper as described by Mr Abbott's office that includes the notion of two tax zones to try and boost development in northern Australia. This morning the government's jumped all over this, saying that jobs are going to be moved from places like Western Sydney to the top end, with people not having any choice. This was the Assistant Treasurer this morning talking to me.
That we are talking about hundreds of billions of dollars. Have a look at what they're proposing. Hundreds of billions of dollars of white elephant infrastructure projects in the far north, funded by increased taxes on people in places like Western Sydney. You're going to have gold-plated footpaths in Karratha while people are stuck in traffic gridlock in places in Sydney.
David Bradbury there on Sky News this morning. Let's cross live now to the doors of Parliament House. The opposition leader Tony Abbott.
But no, it's not something that I had planned or intended. It's a draft discussion paper which had a reasonably wide circulation, and obviously someone's decided to share it with the media.
What about the decentralisation of the public service, for instance, moving public servants, say, those from the CSIRO to places like Karratha?
Well, again, it's not our policy, and we will be telling you exactly what our specific proposals are in good time before the next election. But I do point out that there are many Commonwealth facilities in all sorts of different parts of Australia. Many Commonwealth facilities in different parts of Australia, and it's not a bad thing to have Commonwealth facilities in different parts of Australia. And one of the factors in the very extensive development of the north that we've seen over the last 20 or 30 years has been Commonwealth facilities going into these areas. Defence facilities in Townsville, in Darwin and elsewhere have been a very important part of the development of those cities. Universities in Darwin, Townsville, Cairns and elsewhere have been a very important part of the development of those cities. But we certainly have no plans, and it would be unconstitutional to civilly conscript public servants.
In terms of boosting the amount of jobs in the top end, would you sort of have a target of how many you'd like to see and where would they come from?
Well, we obviously do believe that employment growth at a significantly higher rate than presently is possible, and we want to create 1 million jobs over the next 5 years and 2 million jobs over the next decade. And we believe that our policies can restore the jobs growth rate that was achieved under the Howard government, and we believe that it is possible to have a much better employment future if you put the right policies in place. Now, that's true across the board, not simply in Northern Australia.
At 5.2% unemployment isn't bad.
The opposition leader Tony Abbott making it very clear there, trying to knock this story on the head, that it's not coalition policy, saying that it is, as I mentioned before going to that news conference live, that this at this stage is just a discussion paper, but reiterating his interest in boosting economic development in the top end, in Northern Australia.